Alrighty, hello everybody, Jamie Saettele here. It is April 2nd, 2021, and welcome to Power Hour with me, Jamie Saettele. Relatively quiet week here in FX. Holy Week, Good Friday today, so really today the markets are essentially closed. As you know, FX never really closes, but in case you think I was making that up, just go to your TradingView and you can see up here this little holiday thing. I actually just noticed it says right here, holiday. So you're probably going to want to see a chart in order for me to see what I'm talking about. All right, here we go. Yeah, so I noticed this today. You've got, it says holiday. I think that's a new little feature. So when there's a holiday, it'll say it right here. Anyway, like I said, a quiet week for the most part. So where we left off last week was, looking at the dollar, noted that we were coming into significant levels, right? In US dollar index. The US dollar index is the Dow Jones FXCM dollar index, which is a quarter each of euro, pound, Aussie, and yen. And this index nailed that 200-day average. So we traded there yesterday and on Wednesday, and we've pulled back slightly. So as I wrote in my updates this past week, I'm still constructive, the dollar generally, looking towards 12,010, 12,030, okay? That is going to be the lower end of that range is where you have two equal legs up from the low, okay? The upper end of that range, 12,030, is going to be this parallel. So as you know, I do a lot of pitchfork analysis, trend line analysis, and so forth. And you can see here we have a long-term pitchfork structure. Okay, it goes back to 2017. And I'm going to talk about an important concept in median line analysis, which is symmetry. So you can see you have parallels on either side, okay, of this pitchfork, or of this median line, sorry, the bold black line. You've got these two magenta lines. You can see that we respected this magenta line, and this is not some Monday morning quarterbacking stuff. We were talking about this in real time for months and months and months. We were looking for support on this parallel down here because it was equidistant from where the parallel was above the center line. So, take the distance here, add it to the bottom, and that, estimates where you're looking for the next bounce. And sure enough, we got it. Once we came up to the center line, we pulled back. Now that we're above it, if we were to pull back a bit more over, it could be even several weeks, depends on how volatile the markets get, we would be looking for support back at that center line. So there really are several key levels to think about. Essentially, 11,795 is going to be proposed support. 11,850 if the pullback is, very shallow. And then again, the resistance levels we're looking at are up here, 12,010 to 30. Okay, now that does not mean that the dollar can't go through this level at some point. It simply means that's the next important, what I call decision point or decision area, right? And that's a good way to think about markets, I think, and trading in general, is try to map out where the decision points in the market are, right? Instead of trying to make a decision all the time, try to focus your attention on where and when the decision should be made, right? And then you decide if you're going to basically go with it or fade it, right? So it's almost like a train or something, each stop, right? Each station, and try to make your decision whether you're going to, get on the train, off the train, and so on and so forth. So there we are with US dollar. All right, let's check out DXY. I frankly haven't actually looked at DXY in a while. The big resistance here is also slightly higher. We're looking at 94.30 for this level, or for this index, I should say. And this is probably a better one to look at. Here we go. Yeah, so this is a weekly chart of DXY. 94, call it 94.50 to 95.50 even could be a level to keep in mind for DXY, which is a pretty good move from here. You could certainly have a bigger pullback before then. When you're looking at DXY, you're thinking essentially the opposite of euro, right? This index is at 57% euro. So, you know, this is going to be much more Euro-centric. I refer to it as the European dollar index. So let's go to euro dollar. All right. So this is where we're getting to a point right now where we can kind of pinpoint some important support resistance levels for the dollar. So the 5 waves up, right, from the March 2020 low, a little over a year ago at this point. And right now we're kind of in the middle of nowhere. I'd like to see a test of 1835 or so. That's where I'd actually look to put on a short. But also, I'm thinking that we only have kind of one more stab left on the downside. Now, it doesn't mean that it has to happen, right? It doesn't mean that we have to stop there if we start to come off again. Just saying that's a huge level. That's the trend line from down here. So the way I am today is if we get a pop into 1830, 1835, I'm looking to fade that. I'm looking to short that level. And if we drop into 1650 or so, I'm looking to buy that level. So, you know, whereas for the last several months, I've been, you know, staunchly euro bearish, dollar bullish. As I sit here today, I'm willing to trade both sides, right? We've come into a level important enough where it's worth considering fading this bigger move, you know, from the downside that occurred in January. So we'll look at some other charts here in a minute that, you know, suggest we have decent euro support. You have to excuse me, my allergies are terrible right now. Always comes with the start of baseball season here in the States, which I'm happy to say started yesterday. But back to FX. This is another technique, by the way, trading technique. So with median lines and trend lines, etc. So what you want to do, draw a channel, which is what I have here. I'm just kind of reproducing it so you see. So draw this channel, right? You have a channel right here, okay? That's where this line is. Now, once you drop down below the channel, the underside of that channel becomes your estimated or proposed resistance level, okay? That's why we're looking for resistance at 1835, okay? Also, it does intersect with a former low. That's the March 8th low, 1835, all right? I'm going to bring in a different charting package here to show you as well. 1835 is roughly, you can see this line right here. This is a volume weighted average price from the Fed. So I've got, this is from FOMC, which is on 317. I've got VWAPs anchored to that FOMC hour for every currency that I follow, or every major currency that I follow. And for euro, it's right up there near 1835, which is where the spot price would be at 1835. All right. So that gives us confidence to sell into that level. Let's actually go back to the futures. Now, on the other hand, and from a more important, bigger picture perspective, guess what? We've hit VWAP. This is now a daily chart. We've hit VWAP from, excuse me, we've hit VWAP from the March 2020 low. That is huge. That does not mean that we can't dip below it slightly, right? Again, I am looking for a test of 1650. However, I down here have to be, you know, or want to be constructive if we get the right price action, right? We're getting into the right zone where we want to be constructive. And, you know, if I'm thinking out a bit further, maybe we're looking to target eventually 2021 VWAP, which is also basically VWAP from the high up here somewhere. But we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves if we start to talk about that. All right, so bottom line when it comes to euro is two levels, 116.50 and 118.35. That's really all I care about right now. All right, now this is a good time for me to talk about is working with Scandinavian Capital Markets as their chief technical analyst. As you know, this is a broker company based in Stockholm, Sweden. But if you did not know, I mentioned this last week, we are looking for profitable money managers to join our ranks. We have clients all over the globe that are looking for more strategies to invest in. So if you're a profitable trader and you would like to get into managing money, we can fund your strategies with up to $2 million, okay? So come and show us what you've got, show us your skills. To register, go to scandinavianmarkets.com/fundmytrades. Again, that is scandinavianmarkets.com/fundmytrades.